Thanks, Winifred. I really appreciate the heads up. And the advice, as always. Well, don't tell my dad, but I think I learned more about being alpha from you than him. Especially after I left Tree Arm Springs and my pack of young'uns got formed. Oh, hey. One of my pack members just came to the den, so I'll have to call you back. That okay? Thanks, Winifred. For everything. Tell Pali and Gwen hi for me. Yeah, I will. Bye, Winnie. Hey, what's up? Oh, Pali and Gwen are friends of mine in Winifred's pack. Winifred is a good friend too, of course, but I've known Pali and Gwen for almost as long as I've known Winnie. Storm Harbor is right between Tree Arm Springs and Starlit Hills, so when I moved, I was able to stay close to my friends in the Storm Harbor pack pretty easily. Most of this pack's members have a couple friends in Winifred's pack. Sometimes we do joint barbecues when summer winds down. It's more fun than just having it be our pack alone. Winifred's is a lot bigger, so we get to socialize more. And something you'll find about werewolves is that on a subconscious level, we tend to consider every pack part of an extended family of sorts. Winifred was turned. She wasn't born a werewolf like I was, but she was turned when she was really young. I think she was 5 or something, and she's in her early 30s. She's a bit older than me. I mean, I'm 26, so early 30s is anywhere between, 4 and 8 years or whatever, depending on what you classify as early versus mid versus late. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm just really tired. But yeah, Winifred was turned when she was young, and she was in my dad's pack for a really long time, and I don't know, she just feels like that cool older cousin, you know? Yeah, I don't even know if I'm making any sense. I'm sorry. Oh, she was just giving me advice. Like she always does. It's usually solicited, I promise. I usually ask for it. Because again, she's the cool older cousin. Even though she kind of always felt more like an aunt, or don't tell her I said this, but kind of like a mom. But in a good way, in a good way. She was always very caring toward me. She knew I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was growing up because I thought I was going to be the next alpha of that pack. And she wanted to make sure that I was taking care of myself, which, when I turned 18 and became the beta, I definitely was not doing. I was working myself into the ground, trying to learn as much as I could about being an alpha, and I beat myself up a lot when I felt like I was less than perfect and less than what this family of mine deserved. Even when she wasn't in the pack anymore, Winifred was always there to take care of me and make sure I was taking care of myself. So, it doesn't really matter. I called and I asked for some advice, and she gave it to me. It's not something that I should share with you. Not because I don't trust you. Of course I do. It's just alpha stuff, and honestly, I think the administration side of running a pack would be really boring for me to tell you about. So, if you will pardon any perceived rudeness, I would rather not have to explain it to you. Thank you. Is there anything I can do for you? Any particular reason you're stopping by the den? Yeah, Hazel should be here in like 10 minutes or so. I think she was leaving our apartment a little bit ago, but I was already here. She texted me. You know she's my roommate, right? That we've been sharing an apartment since pretty much she came here. Okay, yeah, cool. I thought you already knew, I just couldn't remember if I told you, or if that was me telling one of the other hooligans that are mine to keep an eye on. But yes, Hazel should be here in like 10 minutes. And then you guys are gonna do another lesson, right? Okay, what is she teaching you this time? Huh. Well, she would be the one to be the teacher for that particular lesson. I mean, I think I would be able to do a serviceable job as well, but I think when it comes to learning from the perspective of someone who was turned, Hazel's really the way to go. Like, I am a incredibly skilled fighter in wolf form, but I was raised that way. Hazel wasn't. She had to learn how to fight in a wolf form, and she taught herself, and she's really good at it. So, from that perspective, I think you would be better served to have her as your teacher than me. I'm always willing to teach you whatever you're interested in, of course. I mean, it's my job as your alpha to be here for my pack members for whatever they need. But when it comes to shifted combat from a turned perspective, I think Hazel will do you just fine. Much better for her ability to relate to your circumstances than I would. Oh, yeah, Winifred was part of my dad's pack when I was a kid. Most of the werewolves around here were. I mean, this place being the Mystic Sanctuary only really started 30, 40 years ago. Before that, there were a lot of supernaturals here, but they weren't encouraged to flock here, and they weren't accommodated for and protected. They were just here because it's relatively remote and easy to kind of fly under the radar when you have to be in the woods once a month, or drink blood to survive, or, turn into a merperson when you get in the water. And, small towns are really prolific with gossip, but everyone around here tends to just mind their business. And so 30, 40 years ago, this place became the Mystic Sanctuary. And my dad's pack was already here, and everyone who came here, well, every werewolf who came here, to be specific, ended up in his pack for at least a little while. When Winifred was old enough, she split off and went to Storm Harbor. And she took a couple of the pack members with her that were also turns. And her pack is pretty big now. She kept accepting new turns who came here when my dad's pack stopped. And then, I ran away. I was alone here for quite a while, actually, before Hazel turned up, and Harrison, and Alejandro, and Julio, and Gigi, and Nikolai, and Lincoln, and Poppy, eventually, and now you, but for a lot of that, I was by myself, and Winifred offered to let me join her pack, but I just needed to be alone. But after she split and I split, there were still a couple turns in my dad's pack, and new turns just kept showing up in Tree Arm Springs. So eventually, Tree Arm Springs just got big enough to split. And I'm good friends with the Alpha's mate from the newer pack, but my dad's pack is pretty much all the born werewolves who've been there for a couple generations. And then the newer Alpha's pack is pretty much entirely turns. Except their mate, who is half Fae. Her name is Celeste. She actually was kind of part of my pack growing up, but not really. She's a little older than me by like a year, and half Fae aren't particularly common. And she didn't really have anywhere else to go. I mean, this place is a sanctuary for supernaturals, but half Fae aren't really accepted, even though they should be, just because Fae aren't around here. Fae live on another plane in a place called Avalon, and they have to cross over to this mortal world to have hybrid children, to put it politely. And she didn't really have anyone here. And we're werewolves. Werewolves are pack animals by nature, and packs are families, and she needed a family. So we took her in. I took her in, specifically. I was the precocious child who stomped up to her one day and declared that we were going to be friends, whether we liked it or not. Or rather, whether she liked it or not. And she just laughed. And the rest is kind of history. We've just always been buddies. And it was because of our friendship that she met the werewolf who is now her mate. So I take full credit for that. No, I'm kidding. I don't. But, yeah. So, how's everything going? I haven't been checking up on you as much as I probably should have. Are you adjusting well? Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. How's the rest of Hazel's training going for you? Huh. Okay. Oh yeah, that tracks. Hazel is very well known in this pack for being the tough love sort of person. She is, I don't know if she believes in easing people into things. She would much rather just chuck you in the deep end and then teach you how to swim. That's just the way she is. She cares a lot more than she lets on, she really does. She's just been burned by too many things before and has a hard time opening up. But if it makes you feel any better, I never see her smile as much as she does when she's teaching you. Even when she taught Poppy. Maybe that was mostly because I did most of Poppy's training, rather than her. Well, I thought it was time for her to step up and give it a shot. She's a much better leader than she gives herself credit for. And I'm very proud of everything she's done, especially since you got turned and came to us. She's been doing very, very well. But, of course, if you tell her I said that, she's just gonna get all grumbly and growly, and you know how she is. Yeah. But she's my beta, and I love her like family. And speaking of Hazel Nichols, the woman of the hour, why are you both staring at me? Do I feel my ears burning? Were you talking about me? No, just a passing comment that you were on your way. That you were coming to teach our newest member here the basics of combat. Yeah, that was the plan. Right? Yeah, I thought so. Are you ready then? Okay. Well, don't let me keep either of you two. Have fun. I'm gonna head out, Hazel. See you tonight for dinner. Bye. It's a good thing she's a good alpha, because otherwise she would be a pain in my neck. Come on, Fuzzball. Grab a water, grab a snack. We're gonna be here a while. Lesson number 1. Combat basics in wolf form. Think you're ready? We'll see about that.